Hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in this webinar, Why Study in the UK, an introduction to what you can expect from a UK education. As part of British Council's Culture Connects Us online festival, I hope you are all in good health, and for those of you who are fasting, I wish you a good fasting day. My name is Lisa from the British Council. I will moderate today's session. And we are very happy to have Helen Yang, Senior Marketing Manager, Study UK East Asia, British Council, as our speaker today. Before we start, I will read the house rules for this webinar. So as you can see in the slides, we will start the session, of course. The speaker already here. Please type your question in the Q&A feature below. I'm the moderator, will summarize the question for the speakers. After the session ends, you'll be redirected to the questionnaire. Please spend your time to give your feedback, which is really valuable to us. This session is being video recorded. By attending this session, you acknowledge that your image and comments may be recorded and rebroadcast. Okay, I would like to invite Helen to share your presentation about why study in the UK. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Let me share my screen with everybody. Lisa, can you see that? Yes. And hopefully now it's a full screen for you all. So my name is Helen Yang. Thank you, Lisa, for the introduction. I'm from the UK. I'm actually sitting in the UK here today, and it's lovely and sunny, but only 2 degrees. So I hope that you will have slightly warmer weather in Indonesia at the moment. And I'd just like to thank you all for coming along. I see we have a good number of attendees, and it's fantastic news that so many people are interested in what the UK has to offer as a study destination. So let me get started. What I will be discussing with you today are some of the top reasons to study in the UK, a little bit about how to choose your university. I'll also be highlighting some of the scholarships actually that we have on offer for those in Indonesia who are interested in coming over to the UK. And I'd also like to touch a little on the current situation in light of COVID-19, because I know you all have questions about that. And on that note, I do hope that you are all keeping as well as is possible at this time. So moving swiftly onwards, why should somebody study in the UK, particularly as an international student? Well, firstly, the UK is very well known, I'm sure you know, for its world-renowned universities. So we have 3 of the world's top 10 universities here in the UK. I don't know if you know what those are. We have Oxford and Cambridge, and we also have Imperial there. And actually, we have 2 of the top 3. So it's really quite impressive. But of course, what I really want to say is that this quality can be found across the UK. It's not just if you go to those top 3 universities, top 10 universities. Actually, we have 32 of the top 200 world universities. So it doesn't matter where you go to university in the UK. Actually, you can be assured that the university that you are going to is of the top quality. And having a UK qualification on your CV can only, do you a service in your future career. The quality of the education that you will receive in the UK really will help kickstart your career. It has been proven that UK graduates are among the most desirable in the world, with confident analytical thinking, excellent communication skills, and of course you'll be learning all of this in the home of the English language. With undergraduate courses usually taking just 3 years and master's courses being 1 year on average, you will graduate sooner than if you went to other countries to study and actually start applying your skills sooner in the world of work and start earning sooner. So that's very positive. You'll also receive very supportive career guidance from your university. Each university does have excellent career guidance. So you will be benefiting from that if you choose to study here. Innovative thinking, this is another point. The UK has been the preferred choice for some of the most important minds in history. And actually 1 in 4 world leaders have studied here in the UK. So really, if you're thinking of achieving big things, the UK is a good place to come and start that journey. What I'd also like to say is that you'll be encouraged as a critical thinker. If you come to the UK, you can't expect to be spoon-fed in your course. Really what your teachers will be encouraging is that you take the information and you run with it, that really you bring your take to that information. And this really will be developed through learning from real life examples, in group work. You can't just expect that you'll be sitting in a lecture hall and the teacher will just be talking at you all day. It really won't be like that. You really will come out of your course and feel quite ready to go into the world of work. English proficiency is an important one. I'm sure many of you see studying in the UK, I would think, as a way of mastering the English language. UK higher education courses encourage students to take part in group work, deliver presentations, and so you will receive many opportunities to not only develop your English, but also develop your confidence and your public speaking as well. And of course, English being the language of world business, this really will put you in good stead, whether you choose to work in Indonesia in the future or overseas. Cutting edge research. So the UK, I would say, is a global powerhouse of science and research. With so many universities at the cutting edge of global discoveries and emerging technology, UK graduates really do graduate with insights and experience that are in high demand around the world. And I would say this isn't just for those of you who want to go and study science. Actually, I myself studied foreign languages, obviously not in the world of science. But the minds that I was learning from, the professors I was learning from, were right at the forefront of their research in their field, or the papers they were writing. So you can rest assured that really you're learning from those with the very current knowledge, and that will take you far. The next thing that I want to touch on is cultural diversity as well, which is something particularly of interest, I would say, to international students. And also, just to share a bit about myself, I usually live in China, and so I can understand that as somebody from overseas living somewhere that isn't my first home, you really want to feel that you will be very welcomed. And I can assure you that in the UK, this is the case. It really is. And as a multi-faith society in the UK, students of all religions and all backgrounds can expect to feel welcome here in the UK. We have plenty of places to practice your faith, and with a history of multiculturalism dating back hundreds of years, we have well-established communities representing all of the major religions, and a deep commitment to supporting students' religious needs on campus as well as off campus. So you'll find that you are with similar people from similar backgrounds, as well as those from very different backgrounds that you will be rubbing up against every day and learning about their cultures, whether this be in the lecture hall, near the prayer rooms, or even where you're living with other students and you're seeing, what's the food that they're cooking, or what are their, how do they usually live with their family. This all comes into the study abroad experience. It's in the classroom and outside, and it's all quite exciting. So that's just a quick overview of some of the top reasons. Of course, there are many more, but we don't have so long today. What I want to touch on is, where do you even start with all of this? I know some of you will be longer, further into your journey, but for those of you who aren't, how do you choose a university? So what I would say is, rankings is one thing. We've talked about the world, top ranking universities, and that's great. But really, my top tip to all of you is, which university has the subject that you're interested in and the course content that suits you and your interests or your future career. Because just because, X university is number 1 or 2 in the world, actually, if you look at their maths course or their, economics course or whatever it might be that you're interested in, that course structure or content might not quite fit you and your interests. So I'd encourage you to look actually at the course content first and see, does that suit me? Then I would also say, look at the location. Are you a quiet person who prefers to be, you know, maybe in a quieter place like the countryside or by the sea? Would you like to be in a city centre? Would you like to be in the capital city or elsewhere? And of course, then cost comes into it as well. If you're in the southeast of England, it's going to be more expensive. If you're further north, or perhaps in Scotland or elsewhere, it might be slightly more reasonable. So these are things you need to think about. Do you want to be a large university or a small university? Do you want to be somewhere with many, many international students? Or do you want to be somewhere where actually, you know, you're not with as many people, say from Indonesia, and you're really forging your path on your own? These are all things I would research when you're looking at the university. I'd also look at the industry links, particularly if you're going into the world of science or business. A lot of these universities will have links with industry, which will have a knock-on effect on the course content that you're learning, and also the work experience or work placements that you might have available at your fingertips. Now, if you just look at the picture I put on the screen, this is an image of our Study UK University Finder tool, which is really useful. And this is a good starting point if you want to find a university. So do, after this, have a look at our Study UK website, which I'll share the link for. In terms of choosing a subject, I've touched on it a bit, but again, what's your personal passion? If you're not going to enjoy it, if this is just something that your parents want you to do or your friends doing, it might not necessarily suit you. So what is it you really want to do? Because you're going to be doing this every day for at least 3 years. And also think about how it will help you in your future work. Lots of you still probably aren't sure about where you want to study. Something I'd recommend is trying some online free courses. These are called MOOCs, massive open online courses. Where you can find these is on the website that I've put the link here to, Future Learn. Okay, so if you look at that website and look at Study UK, we have a choice of over 250 courses, all for free, actually offered by UK universities. So you could do one in science, arts, finance, and they're short courses, and at the end you get a free digital certificate, which is great proof then when you go on to do your when you go to write your personal statement for your application or future CVs. What it shows is that you've given your course or your subject some thought and some time and some effort, and it will also give you a taste of what a UK education is really like. What we also have in July, if you look at the bottom bullet point here, is the Prepare to Study and Live in the UK MOOC. So this actually will show you what is it like to live in the UK, what is it like to attend a UK university, what are the courses like, how are the exams structured, what will my teacher expect from me, what's the accommodation like, how do I find friends? All of these questions that many of you will have are answered in this course. So if you follow that link, you will receive an update when the course begins. And again, that's for free. Some of you may have heard of the new UK graduate immigration route. For those of you who will graduate in the summer of 2021 or afterwards, you will be eligible to apply for a 2-year visa, which will allow you to stay in the UK and look for work. Now, this is really good news because this isn't something that we've had before in recent times. So something that you as a new student will benefit from. And it means that you will extend your overseas experience, and actually there's the option then to get work as well, which will really make you stand out from competition, whether you return home or go on to do other things. And so I would look this up if I were you. It's called the UK Graduate Immigration Route. Okay, let's move on, shall we? I want to tell you a bit about the Great Scholarships 2020. Okay, so these are scholarships for postgraduate students from Indonesia. So this is a partnership between the British Council, Study UK, and UK universities. And we're offering 14 scholarships for Indonesian students, and each one is worth at least £10,000. And this comes off your tuition fees. So you'll be paying £10,000 less than you would otherwise. And this is for postgraduate taught courses. You must have an Indonesian passport. And this will be for 1 year. So if your course is longer than 1 year, this reduction in fees will be for your first year of study. So how do you go about getting one of these scholarships? Well, as I said, you need to be a citizen of Indonesia, first off. Because it's for postgraduate talk, you must already have an undergraduate degree, and that can be from Indonesia, that's fine. You must, of course, be motivated and academically able. A lot of these universities will be looking for very good grades in their scholars. What they're also looking for is a proven interest in your subject. And even better would be active, you know, show that you're active in your field of work. So maybe do you have work placement or work experience that you can prove? If not, they would be looking that you've done a lot of reading around your subject, a lot of research. And you must also meet the English language requirements of your chosen university. What we also ask is that you embody the UK higher education experience. So what does that mean really? Well, it means that of course you attend all of your courses, but that you're somebody who is really going to make the most of the overseas study experience in the UK. You know, so perhaps as well as attending your course, you also get involved in the student life, whether that be through societies or, you know, subject groups, just going that extra mile. We also ask that you're, you know, you're willing to establish an engagement with the UK as a scholar. So by that, we'd like you to be an advocate. So once you've graduated, actually, you're willing to share your experience with younger students who are also looking to study in the UK and actually would like some information from somebody who's done it already. When you return to Indonesia, if you're successful in getting one of these scholarships, we'd love it if you really used your skills to bring back to your own society. So you use what you learned in the UK and bring that back to Indonesia. We also ask that our scholars maintain contact with the British Council, with us, and act as an ambassador for great scholarships. And this is great for you and for us because, as I said before, we love it if you could speak with future students, but also that's good experience for you. Again, you remember we talked about the communication skills and the confidence in the public speaking. This all adds towards that. So I'm sure you're interested which universities are offering this. There are 14. Some of those deadlines have already closed because this offer has been available for some time now. However, what the good news is we still have 7 who have open applications. So let me just read through these. We have Sheffield Hallam University, and their deadline is this week, 15th of May. Talk courses, postgraduate, any subject. So look at their website for that. Nottingham Trent University, the deadline is tomorrow, so if you're applying there, I would move quickly on that one. The University of Bradford is at the end of this month, the deadline. And I'd also like to raise the point that University of Bradford has launched a new scholarship at the price of £5,000. So you get £5,000 if you're an Indonesian student applying to the University of Bradford, joining this year. So that's great news for the University of Bradford. We also have Ulster University, whose deadline is not until the 3rd of July. So do go and check that one out. We have the University of Dundee in Scotland at the end of this month. The University of York, the deadline is 30th of May. And the University of Leeds, the 22nd of June. So in terms of next steps, go on to the UK scholarship webpage, university pages, and you'll be able to see, you know, the requirements. You will need to fill in a form on their page. Okay, just before we go over to our Q&A for the last few minutes, I know some of you will have questions about the current situation and what this might mean for admissions to the UK. So this really is an evolving situation, and we do continue to provide updates on the current UK government guidelines on our Study UK website. So again, my #1 piece of advice for today, if you don't remember anything else, is please check the website because everything is on there. The health, the well-being and the safety of all students is a priority for everybody in the UK. And, you know, for students looking to begin their studies in the UK in 2020, so this year, we really appreciate that the current situation is, you know, it's full of uncertainty and has caused concern. And at the moment, it is difficult to know how long the current situation will last, this current disruption. But my top two pieces of advice for you are, number one is to check that website I keep mentioning, because that's where we're putting all of the information. And number two, if you have a specific question, get in touch with the institution you're applying to, because the case will differ for each institution slightly. However, the UK government has confirmed that international students will be able to study in the UK in the academic year 2020 to 2021. So I'm talking about this academic year. And the Home Office, so our visa department in the UK, has also said that they will be flexible in accommodating international student circumstances when applying for their visas once the visa centres open. So please don't think that you're going to be negatively affected down the road because you're an international student. That's simply not the case. I'd also recommend that you check the UCAS website. So UCAS is the application portal, and I've put the link here on the page. So I recommend, we will be sharing these slides after this in a PDF. So please do check the Home Office link that I've put on this page and the UCAS link as well. Something else I'd like to say on this is that universities are currently planning for every eventuality in order to follow the UK government advice. And so a lot of them are moving the new semester, so the autumn semester, they're moving it wholly online. And others are doing some things on campus, but making sure that all of the teaching and all of the core content is online. So that no matter where you are, you'll be able to access it. And what this means is that you'll still be able to engage with your program effectively and receive the highest quality learning and student experience, no matter what the circumstances. So, at the moment, the visa centres are closed because of the current disruption and for safety reasons, but actually, if needs be, you will be able to start your course with a UK institution from home in Indonesia if necessary, because of not being able to travel. But then as soon as everything opens up again, you'll be able to start your course in person. So you'll already have started in Indonesia and then you carry on in person. And actually I would see, a silver lining in this is that you'll be able to get used to that UK way of life or UK study style from the comfort with your family, with your home, and then really go full on when everything opens up. So my parting words to you really would be, please be assured that the UK is working as hard and fast as possible on this, and that they will be providing updates as soon as they're available. So do check the Study UK website, check your institution's website, and do get in touch with the institution if you have specific questions. Okay. So I've put the QR code here for our website, and I've also put some other links too for you to check. Now I'm going to stop speaking for a sec because I know we don't have so long, but Lisa, are there any questions that people have for us today?
Yes, Helen. Master program which become priority for grade scholarship, and can we combine grade scholarship with other scholarships?
Good question. I'm afraid for this, you cannot combine it with other scholarships. This must be the only scholarship.
Okay, is there any, program priority, subject priority if they take the grade scholarship?
Nope. So if you look at those universities that I listed, and you'll be able to look at the PDF afterwards, I have put there that they're for all subjects, as long as it's taught masters. But my advice would be check those institutions' web pages, and we've got the links all on the Study UK website on the Indonesia page, because they might have slight, guidelines on subjects, but really it's open for most subjects.
Okay. We have other question related to the current pandemic situation. Is there any changes to the university in terms of classes, learning styles, and intake?
So intake, no, there is no change. And actually the majority of universities are still allowing postgraduate applications. Obviously the undergraduate applications, most have happened by now. However, for undergraduate, I would say that the very latest deadlines are 30th of June if you haven't yet applied, but a lot of the undergraduate places will have been taken up. For postgraduate, they're still very much open. So that's not been affected. In terms of learning style, for this current time, a lot of the universities have moved their classes online, because, as you know, we're all, like you in Indonesia, socially distancing at this time. So it's in everybody's interest that we remain safe. But what might start happening from the new term is a blended learning approach. So as people start to be able to move more, they'll make sure the core content is online, and then, if possible, that you're able to meet your professor then face to face. But eventually, we're all going to get back to normal, and you will have the very best time at the UK campus.
Okay, there are other questions still related to the scholarship. They want to know, are there any scholarship for undergraduate students, you know, from high school to undergraduate?
Good question. So the great scholarships, which are from the British Council, which I mentioned today, are only postgraduate. However, my advice for undergraduates is go onto your institution website, so your university website, go to their scholarships page. Every university has a scholarships page, and they will have special scholarships for undergraduate students and special scholarships for international students. So please do check your institution, because it will vary from university to university.
Okay, some of the participants would like to know if they, you know, can have a, I think they want to know more about this.
Oh, sorry, you broke up a little bit there, Lisa. What was that question?
The participants want to know more about the post-study work visa after they study.
Of course. Let me see if I can go back to that slide for you all, just because it's useful to have the information in front of you when I'm talking. So let me run through here. I know I went quickly through it because we have a lot to cover, but let me go through these points. So it's from the summer of 2021, so kind of a year from now. So those of you who are applying to study this autumn, it applies to you and everybody after you. So you must have completed a degree at undergraduate level or above at a UK university. So this is for you if you're an undergraduate student or a postgraduate student, all okay. And this includes students who have already started their courses, even if due to coronavirus, you have needed to go back to Indonesia and learn remotely, okay? So you just need to have graduated by next summer, if that makes sense. And successful applicants will be able to stay and work or look for work for a maximum period of 2 years. Okay, so don't worry if you're not able to 100% find a job in that time. You're able to look for work in that time. And then if you are successful in finding a job, you can switch into a skilled work visa once you found a suitable job. So this really is good news, because as soon as you've got the job, then you moved on to the proper work visa. It is a new application. So once your Tier 4 study visa is coming to an end, then you apply for this new visa at the end. And yeah, my last point that I've put here is that the route is non-extendable, so it's up to the 2 years post-graduation.
Okay. Another questions. What makes academic environment in the UK different from universities in other countries?
It's a very good question. So actually, I myself have studied in the UK, in Germany, and China. So I know that's not Indonesia, but I can at least give you a little, from my point of view, I suppose. So what I think is very different. Let me say 2 or 3 things. So number one, I mentioned you don't just get spoon-fed. So if I compare it to my experience in other countries, I was encouraged to think for myself a lot more, actually. You know, in other countries, I was just sat in the lecture hall and the professor speaks to everybody. You take your notes and then you go home and study a bit more. In the UK, you're encouraged to have a bit more of a back and forth. Another thing I would say is that we have smaller class sizes than in other countries I've studied in. So more of a seminar setup where I can debate with my fellow classmates. Another thing I would say is the out of classroom experience. So all of the societies, you know, do you play an instrument? You'll be able to play any sort of music you want. Are you into acting? Are you into art? Are you into making food? You can even make, you know, you can create your own society. You can also join the Indonesian societies, which all universities certainly do have. I know about that. Another thing I would say actually is that the UK, you know, I know it's a bit chilly today, but the sun is shining, and it's a very beautiful country. So you'll have very temperate weather, and we have lovely countryside. We have the seaside. That and the UK is small, and it's easier to travel. We don't have many islands like Indonesia. It's well, one and a bit, I suppose. So you can travel much more easily, and it's quite reasonable. So you'll be able to see a lot of the UK when you're here, and we've got the history as well, and the old architecture. I could go on for a long time, but that just gives you a little insight, I suppose.
Okay, we have 33. So what are the advantages for students who study in UK universities to help them secure their dream jobs? And the other one, what are the things I should prepare for applying to UK universities if I'm still in my early year in high school?
Good questions. Okay, so number one about careers. So I mentioned the careers office. So if you're either an undergraduate or postgraduate student, doesn't matter, you have access to your university career office, and you can go there from day one of your studies. And they have specialists in that office which cover different subject areas. So if you're a scientist, you go and see the specialist scientist person, and they'll have links into the industry, and they'll be able to advise you on how to apply for those jobs. Something else good I remember from my time was they'll get people from your industry actually coming in to speak to you. And so you can really get an idea of how to go from your university into the world of work. Also, just an example, if you're to do engineering, you may well, if you look at the course content, you may well get a year out in industry. And if not, the industry experts will come into your course. So there's constantly these inroads into the world of work from the UK universities. And in terms of if you're a younger student listening who's in high school, I have a few tips for you. One is read around your subject. Of course, you're going to be doing all your schoolwork, and I'm sure your teachers are giving you lots and lots of homework at the moment. But my advice would be read around your subject. Show how you're always going the extra mile to make yourself stand out. If you want to study foreign languages, make sure you're listening to the foreign radio, or watching foreign films, or reading foreign books. You're reading the most up-to-date research in the area you're interested in. This is really important to make yourself stand out. Also, are there societies you can be involved with at school, or things that, again, that you can do outside of the classroom? Because that's something that stands out about UK education, is they want you to be a rounded individual. It's not just about reading the books, it's about doing more than that. So keep a log, because when you apply for university, you need to write a personal statement when you apply for your undergrad about why that subject suits you and you suit that subject. Why should they choose you and not the next girl or boy? So keep a log from your earlier years about what you're getting up to.
Okay, thank you very much, Helen, and all participants.
Thank you, everybody.
We have limited time. After this session, we will share the presentation via email, and the Culture Connects Us online festival will run until May 17. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. there's a session from British Chamber of Commerce in Indonesia on what's next after graduating, a guide to starting your career with top British companies, featuring success stories from UK alumni. More session coming. We have interview tips, studying IELTS, personal statement, and CV. So follow our Instagram at @idbritish to get more updates. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.